Hi everyone, I'm Sam Eckmann of Gold Derby, and I am here with Woody Norman, star of the new film Come On, Come On. And one of the things that some viewers will probably be surprised to learn is that you are in fact British, because your accent in this film is really exceptional. You would never know because the American accent is so good. Was that whenever you did learn that, was it very hard to get that under your belt and really hone in on that?
Well, I had a couple lessons beforehand, but like a few years beforehand for another job that I didn't end up doing. So it was a challenge at the start. It's very hard. But as soon as you get like the tricky things down, it gets quite easy. Because it's the R's, and I think a lot of just, I don't know, just very little things get in the way. Like differences in words. Like in America, you guys would say stroller when you're like pushing a baby. What we'd say buggy. You guys would call it dish soap. We'd call it washing up liquid. It's just those differences that you don't notice.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. Well, you nailed them in this movie. And one of the my favorite aspects of the film is kind of watching you and Joaquin Phoenix play characters who grow very close together. And I feel like you learned stuff from his character, but he actually might even learn more from you. There's a lot of cross-generational learning going on in the film between them. How did you connect with that theme as you were making the movie?
Um, it's always been it was always very like 50-50 the filming, so we both kind of learned from each other. Like there was no moments where there was superiority. It was always we're all at equal creative level, and we could all add as much as we wanted. So I think that really made it so we can learn instead of being told. And I think it was just a very comfy feeling environment to work in. It all felt like you were just going to like your auntie's house every day or something like that.
Yeah, I think you can tell that on screen because you both seem very comfortable with one another, and the connection there is great. How would you describe Joaquin as a scene partner?
He's very generous with his acting. He always lets it be not his scene. He lets it be just the scene. He puts in a lot to it. He really makes it so it's an equal process. So, it's always he wrote a few scenes just so we can do them. I can't remember which ones, but I remember that happening. He wrote scenes just so we can do it. And Joaquin wasn't a writer on the film, but he just kind of did it because he wanted to. But I think Mike, the director, put like really made what Joaquin tried doing possible because he let that happen. He didn't just say, okay, no, that's done. We're going to stick to the script. We barely stick to the script. There's a few scenes here and there in the film that are like perfectly on script, but a lot of them we added a lot to. And that made it so it was really just a creative process filming the film.
Yeah. Do you have a kind of favorite moment that you both created that you're happy that made it into the film?
I think the wrestling scene, the scene where we wrestled, it was when I was doing an audition face to face with Joaquin. It was very we just talked, and I fight with my brother like, well, not fight, it's more play fighting, but none of us know it's play fighting. So I was talking about that, and and then he just said, okay, let's try it. And then we did it. And in New York, I think the same thing happened. It was just kind of, okay, let's do it. So it was just so funny to see something that I said as a joke, just to, how we do that, become a scene in a film.
It's would you say you kind of had a similar bond in real life to Joaquin as your character does in the film? Did you kind of take that into your acting?
Yeah, yes. It was we shot it mostly in order. So it went LA, New York, New Orleans. So it was we kind of grew as the characters grew, and my relationship with all of the crew grew as me and Johnny's relationship grew, or Joaquin's relationship grew.
Yeah. It does have you traveling around quite a bit. Was it your first time in any of those places?
I'd been in LA and New York for auditions before, but I'd never been to New Orleans, and I think that was an experience. That was so fun. It's so moody there. It's so like you really it's so just cool, and it's kind of the culture there is amazing. Me and my mum, because we're silly, we were so afraid of the ghosts there, we didn't look in mirrors. We didn't sleep most of it. We barely slept. But after a while, I just said to my mum, "Okay, I'm over it. There's none." Then,
Safe from the
oh,
ghosts.
I think there's none. I'm an English guy. We have English culture's kind of boring. We just the biggest thing in our culture is we burn a statue of a man that tried to blow down our government once. That's fireworks night. Well, not many places do that, but we do that. And that's a thing English people do. We have fireworks, we do all this. So that's kind of weird, but it's fun. Oh, the food. I like the food here. It's much better than American food, I'll be honest. The thing is so good, but American food's pretty nice. Like I love a lot of more southern food. Like when we were in New Orleans, we had gumbo. That was good. That was so nice.
Definitely a good location for food. And a lot of us, who watch Mike Mills films, there's a sort of tenderness and a kind of simplicity in storytelling in all of his movies, which is a really, it makes him stand out quite a bit. And it feels like your acting style fits right in with that world. Do you think that's accurate to say?
I think Mike is just something to he wouldn't like me saying this, but just something to admire. His work and the way he does his directing isn't like a director. It's more of a storyteller. So him giving me an opportunity to even be thinking about being a member of this films was so shocking to me because beforehand I've done a lot of English dramas and stuff like that. So there's never really been an American director that has let me be in one of his films. So that was crazy. And I just want to thank, well, I've already have a lot, but it's just so nice. And I think his directing style is very calm. As you said, it's very comforting to watch. I think even a lot of the intense scenes in Come On are very comfortable for me to watch because they seem more real.
Well, I think Mike tends to put a lot of himself and his personal qualities into his work. And I know you said there was a lot of room for improvisation on set. How much of yourself would you say you put into your character?
I would say I only put a little bit in because my character was based off Mike's child Hopper. So I think Mike put a lot of Hopper into my character. So I didn't want to change it too much because I thought Jesse was already a really good character. And I didn't want to make him Woody. I wanted to keep him as Jesse. But there is still bits and pieces in there that are from me. But I couldn't tell you which, if I'm being honest.
Sounds like a good performance tactic then. And I do want to note, like, you already at a young age have a pretty large resume of acting credits at this stage. Do you ever in the future like look at where you're going and think you want to branch out from acting? What do you think the future holds for that?
I want to direct and write, but also keep with acting because I really want to just become an all-round. I don't want to sound like pretentious, but just a creative in general. So I think that would be kind of fun. I'm already writing scripts, but I'm not planning to like release the films I make from them. So it's just like when a little kid writes a book, I'm just doing it for fun at the moment. And I really hope that I can turn what I like doing with writing and directing films, and obviously actors, into a big thing, into a proper thing where I can show it to people.
What types of stories do you find yourself drawn to when you're writing?
More emotionally driven stories, so, and very quite, I don't know, complex ones. So at the moment, I'm writing a script based off the Wolf Haley trilogy by Tyler O'Connor, or Tyler the Creator. I'm just being pretentious. Just by him, his first three albums. I don't know why. His first three albums, I'm writing a script off that. So I'm really trying to because those three first albums have a story. It's quite dark, I'll be honest, but it's very good. It's very fun to listen to because obviously Tyler he's one of my favorite artists of all time. I think him and another guy called Art Sweatshirt might be some of the two best storytellers in music, along with a lot of others that I'm just forgetting right now. So I really hope to not ruin the story with the script I'm writing of it. And I'm not planning to release it to anything. I'm just trying to make a film with my friends. I think it's going to be very fun.
Well, it sounds like like you're following something you're passionate about. And I did want to make sure I asked you that Joaquin Phoenix's character spends most of this movie, making his podcast, asking kids and teens what they hope for the future and where they see the world going. And it's very striking because, I think kids are now surrounded with so much media and perhaps a lot of things going wrong in the world. So if you had to answer that same question as Woody, what would your answer be to that question?
Could you repeat the question, please? Sorry, there's just a lot going on in the house right now.
Oh, no worries. Because Joaquin Phoenix's character asks all those teens throughout the movie what their hopes are for the future and where they see the future going. So if you had to answer that character's question from the movie, how would you answer that question? What are your hopes for the future?
I think I might answer like Jesse's first answer. Just kind of whatever happens, happens, whatever doesn't. But I do hope that what I said with writing and directing happens. I really just hope that I can continue doing what I'm doing. And that I can have fun doing it. Because if I stop having fun, I'll stop what I'm doing. Because it's all fun. It all has to be fun.
It certainly does. Well, I think you're already going down a very fun path with that film you're creating. So hopefully one day we'll get to see you release one of them. And that'll be a good new transition for you. So thank you, Woody. It's a great job you've done in this film. I appreciate you sitting down to talk with me. If you're watching out there, subscribe to Gold Derby and keep in touch with us. We have many more videos like this throughout the season. Woody, thanks again. It was great to meet you.
Thank you so much. It was nice to meet you too.